I'm supposed to be quiet, knowing what I know you done with her. If you pillow talk with her, you think I ain't gonna think you gonna pillow talk with them? So what you mean? We already divided. The house is already broken. Why would I call you when you been in the car with me talking about me? And I know you talking about me. Same know you talking about him. Why won't you hang up and talk to us?
Charleston White finally opened up about everything going on with DewBerry. And judging by the way Charleston is talking, this situation sounds a whole lot deeper than a couple of people arguing on the internet. Because when Charleston starts talking about somebody he actually considered a friend, that's when things get personal. And right now, DewBerry appears to be sitting right in the middle of a situation involving Charleston, YSL Woody, Smackwater, and a whole lot of relationships that seem to have changed behind the scenes. Recent clips surrounding the fallout have focused heavily on Charleston's relationship with DewBerry deteriorating, including Charleston taking issue with DewBerry being around people Charleston already had problems with. And Charleston? He clearly has some things he wanted to get off his chest, because this didn't sound like somebody casually answering a question about an old friend. This sounded like somebody explaining why he no longer looks at that friendship the same way. And that's where this whole story gets interesting. See, Charleston White has had problems with plenty of people. That's nothing new. He'll argue with rappers. He'll argue with street dudes. He'll argue with bloggers. He'll argue with somebody today and probably have another argument lined up tomorrow morning. That's Charleston. But DewBerry is different. This was somebody who had actually been around Charleston. Somebody who apparently knew him beyond the viral clips, interviews, and wild internet moments. So when that relationship starts falling apart publicly, people naturally want to know one thing. What happened behind the scenes? Because friendships usually don't go from close to completely fractured for no reason. And according to the way Charleston has been explaining it, loyalty seems to be sitting right at the center of everything. Charleston's issue appears to be less about DewBerry simply knowing certain people and more about what those relationships represented. Because there's knowing somebody, and then there's getting comfortable with somebody your friend believes has been openly disrespecting him. Those are two completely different things.
So the decision was already made when you brought her into the mix. And she know what she know. I didn't even know my wife was on Section 8. I had no idea my wife was on Section 8. They living out there in that house in Grand Prairie by Go Pool Lake. And my struggle.
Charleston White, you know your cousin's telling all your secrets, what you did to her. It sounds just like you repeat your character. And you don't try to sue her for nothing. You known for suing people. Why you not battering her? Those allegations that she claiming the truth on. You're a man that take from women. That's why you treat women the way you treat them. You don't like yourself. You an angry little man. You so mad with your reality.
That's where YSL Woody comes into the conversation. Charleston and Woody have been publicly going at each other for a while now. Their tension was already making headlines back in 2024, when Woody criticized Charleston for talking about him publicly, and Charleston fired back. The situation even included Woody suggesting Charleston might have been connected to an AirTag Woody discovered in his vehicle, although Woody did not definitively say Charleston planted it. So this isn't some brand new disagreement that started yesterday. There's history there, which makes DewBerry appearing around Woody much more meaningful from Charleston's perspective. Because think about it, if you believe somebody has been coming at you publicly, and then one of the people who used to be close to you suddenly starts hanging around that person, you're probably going to look at that differently. And that's exactly why Charleston's reaction seems bigger than, oh, DewBerry made some new friends. Nah. To Charleston, it appears to be about where somebody stands when relationships start getting messy. And Charleston has never exactly been subtle about loyalty. If he feels like you're with the other side, he's probably going to treat you like you're on the other side. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground. That's what makes the DewBerry situation fascinating, because from the outside looking in, DewBerry may not necessarily see things through that same lens. DewBerry has also publicly discussed why he and Charleston aren't around each other like they used to be, meaning we're now getting pieces of the fallout from more than one perspective. And that's normally when these situations get complicated, because one person says, "You switched up." The other person says, "No, I just stopped dealing with the drama." One person sees betrayal, the other sees independence. One person remembers everything they did for you, the other remembers everything they tolerated from you, and suddenly both people believe they're the one who got done wrong. That's how long friendships turn into some of the nastiest public fallouts, because strangers can only expose what they've heard. Former friends? Former friends know where everything is buried. They know the arguments nobody saw. They know who called who. They know who was struggling. They know who helped who. They know which public story doesn't exactly match what happened privately. And once both sides start talking, every interview becomes dangerous.
That you try to take it out on the world. You took that girl, you pinned her down, you did everything she said you did. That's why you can't respond. See, one thing a man can't do, a man can't look the truth in the eyes and say it's a lie. You violated your cousin, Charleston White. That's why you don't like yourself. And when you was in that group home, they used to take your little booty. That's why you walk like that. Charleston White, I ain't the one you want to play with. And bring your cousin up here next.
Charleston even publicly accused DewBerry of talking behind his back and said that behavior contributed to him cutting DewBerry off. That's Charleston's version of events, not an independently established fact, but it shows just how personal Charleston believes the fallout became. And that's important, because Charleston isn't presenting this like some random internet misunderstanding. He's presenting it like trust was broken. Now add YSL Woody into that equation. Then add Smackwater. Then add everybody else watching, choosing sides, reposting clips, laughing in comment sections, and turning private resentment into public entertainment. At that point, you're not dealing with one friendship anymore. You're dealing with alliances. And that's when things can spiral, especially because Woody and Charleston already know exactly how to push each other's buttons. Woody has publicly challenged Charleston before. Charleston has publicly gone right back at Woody. And recent videos continue framing their feud as active, including Charleston responding to Woody after Charleston's release in Texas, while also discussing DewBerry. So when Charleston sees DewBerry connecting with Woody, he isn't looking at Woody like some random dude. He's looking at somebody he already has history with. That's the difference. And here's another thing people might be overlooking. Charleston White understands the internet extremely well. People can call him crazy. People can say he goes too far. People can hate everything that comes out of his mouth. But one thing you cannot really deny is that Charleston knows how attention works. He knows exactly which sentence will become the clip. He knows when to exaggerate a point for effect. He knows when to pause. He knows when to laugh. He knows which name will make everybody run to YouTube. That's part of why these situations explode so quickly. Charleston doesn't quietly fall out with somebody. He turns the fallout into content. And once that happens, the other person almost has no choice.
Yes, why you don't run? Come here, Charleston. Come talk to me. Just come talk. Oh my God.
Don't nothing in this world say like being afraid for your life outside of a police station, cake. So let me see all you Charleston meat eaters spin this.
Stay quiet? People assume Charleston's version is correct. Respond? Now Charleston has another response to respond to. And congratulations. Everybody has content for the next 2 weeks. That's basically the internet ecosystem. Which brings us back to DewBerry. Because DewBerry's position is tricky. If he responds aggressively, Charleston can say, "See? I told y'all." If DewBerry stays quiet, Charleston can keep telling his version. If DewBerry hangs around Woody, people call it choosing sides. If he explains why he's around Woody, people dissect every sentence. There's almost no move that doesn't create another storyline. And Charleston knows that. But here's where Charleston may have a point, at least emotionally. Friendship isn't always about technical rules. Sometimes it's about what you believe somebody should know without you having to explain it. You shouldn't have to call your longtime friend and say, "Hey, don't get close with the dude publicly disrespecting me." Some people believe that's obvious. Other people believe grown men should be allowed to associate with whoever they want. That's probably why the audience is going to be divided on this one. Because there are two completely different ways to view DewBerry. One side will say DewBerry switched up. They'll say Charleston and DewBerry had history together, and once Woody became Charleston's opposition, DewBerry getting comfortable around Woody crossed a line. The other side will say, Charleston can't control grown men. DewBerry doesn't have to inherit every problem Charleston creates. If Charleston falls out with 10 people, does DewBerry have to stop speaking to all 10? That's where Charleston's loyalty philosophy starts getting tested. Because Charleston has beef with a lot of people. If being Charleston's friend means inheriting every Charleston White enemy, man, you might need a spreadsheet. And that's why I think this story is bigger than Woody. Woody might just be the trigger. The real story appears to be Charleston and DewBerry having completely different definitions of friendship. Charleston seems to view friendship through loyalty. DewBerry appears to view himself as his own man. Those philosophies work perfectly together until conflict arrives. Then one person feels controlled, and the other feels betrayed. And once resentment builds long enough, everything that used to be funny becomes disrespectful. Every little comment becomes suspicious.
Here when they make an excuse for this here. It's nighttime. He can't see who that is. He right to be afraid for his life. Yeah, because he okay. Hold up, cake ass. I thought you was the police. What the is you doing getting arrested? I thought y'all was on the same team.
Every new friendship becomes political. Every interview feels like somebody sending shots. That's how relationships break down. Then Smackwater's name enters the discussion, adding another personality to an already crowded situation. And instead of Charleston versus DewBerry being one simple disagreement, now people are trying to figure out who is cool with who has an issue with who might respond next, and whether old relationships are quietly turning into new alliances. That's exactly the type of situation the internet loves. Everybody becomes a detective. Why was he standing next to him? Why did he laugh when Charleston's name came up? Why did DewBerry repost that? Why did Woody say this? And before you know it, somebody liking an Instagram post gets treated like signing a military alliance. That's social media beef in 2026. But jokes aside, there's another reason Charleston probably feels strongly about this. People tend to react harder to perceived betrayal from friends than disrespect from enemies. Charleston already expects Woody to come at him. That's an opponent. There's no surprise there. But when somebody you had history with moves differently, that hits somewhere else. That's why Charleston can yell about one person for 20 minutes and laugh afterward, but mention somebody he once genuinely trusted, and suddenly the whole energy changes. You can hear the disappointment underneath the jokes, and that's usually the biggest giveaway. Anger burns hot, disappointment sits there. And with Charleston and DewBerry, this sounds like something that's been sitting there for a minute. The danger now is that both sides have platforms, because public fallouts have a way of rewriting entire friendships. People stop talking about the 10 years everything was good. Now it's, he was always jealous. He was always fake. He never did anything for me. I was the reason he had this. No, I was helping him. Suddenly every positive memory gets reinterpreted through the breakup. And that's when things usually become impossible to repair, because you're no longer arguing about what happened last week. You're arguing about the entire history of the relationship. Who contributed more? Who used who? Who was loyal? Who changed? Who became successful? Who got jealous? Who started hanging around different people? That's a much uglier conversation. And knowing Charleston, if this keeps going publicly, I don't see him suddenly becoming diplomatic. Charleston isn't exactly known for saying, well, unfortunately, DewBerry and I have experienced philosophical differences. Man, come on. If Charleston feels betrayed, everybody on the internet is probably going to know exactly how betrayed he feels. Probably in extremely colorful language. And DewBerry may eventually feel like he has to keep defending himself. Then Woody gets mentioned again. Then Smackwater gets mentioned. Then somebody else reacts. Then Charleston reacts to the reaction. And we're right back where we started. But here's my opinion. I think the most interesting part of this whole situation isn't actually YSL Woody. It's DewBerry. Charleston and Woody already don't like each other. Nobody is shocked by them trading shots. But when somebody who is genuinely close to you becomes part of the same conversation as somebody you're feuding with, that's when the story becomes personal. At the same time,
Cake ass. Oh, so maybe that's why you ran back in the building. You ran back in that way your people was, huh, Cake? Even the laws know you a cake. All that you do for the police and all that you do be preaching about how you siding with the laws and how you with the laws. Why don't they arrest you then if you on their team, Cake ass? Cause they know you are this Friday.
I don't think friendship automatically means somebody has to inherit every single one of your beefs. There has to be a line somewhere. And when you've publicly clashed with as many people as Charleston has, expecting everybody around you to maintain the exact same enemy list can create problems of its own. So the real question is this: did DewBerry actually cross a friendship line by getting close with people Charleston had problems with? Or is Charleston expecting too much loyalty from somebody who simply decided to move independently? And who do y'all think is really in the wrong here? Charleston White, DewBerry, or is this one of those situations where both sides played a role in destroying the friendship? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, because I know people are going to have completely different opinions on this one. And if you want more celebrity drama, hip-hop news, internet beefs, and all the stories everybody else is arguing about, make sure you hit that subscribe button and subscribe to Gossip Tier. I'll catch y'all in the next one.